Hello, welcome back. This is Tina. In this video, I'm going to introduce about React. The IDE we are going to use is Visual Studio Code. This picture shows a timeline of front-end JavaScript frameworks or library. After we have a JavaScript, we have a very popular library called jQuery since 2006. I used jQuery for a very long time, and it's very powerful to compare to use a plain JavaScript. Especially it provides a lot of APIs to deal with like Ajax or apply CSS or manipulate about DOM objects. Okay. And after we have AngularJS, which comes in 2010. Which is also very popular, but I didn't have a chance to directly apply or use AngularJS. When I start learning about Angular, it's already Angular 2 and a higher version, okay? And then we have React, we have Vue and Angular. React, Vue, and Angular are now the most popular three front frameworks to be used. The one we are going to introduce is React, okay? And we are going to introduce React, which is the version after 16.8. I think the latest version still in development is 19. Okay, so we are going to introduce the features which include the features after 16.8. The common tasks for front-end frameworks development, we need to maintain the application state, like how to define data, how to organize, how to store those data, which represent an application state. What is state? It can be a single person, it can be a collection of users, it can be a collection of to-do list, it can be a single product. Okay, that's the state. Usually state probably will be rendered on the UI, which is the data you can see on the page, okay, on the UI. We need to have respond to users' actions, like when the user click or mouse over or hover, we need to respond to those actions, okay? Like click a button to fetch all the users, or click a button to edit or delete a product. So that is use action we need to handle. And it has we have to render for HTML because HTML by itself, HTML templates, because HTML by itself is static. And our application cannot be all static HTML files. So we have to have a way which to render HTML templates, right? In side the React, we will learn about the JSX, okay? And how to do routing, resolve the URLs, click the button to fetch another page, and we're going to learn about React Route DOM to do the routing for the browser, okay? No, for the application deployed in the browser. Then data fetching, we have to interact with the server through the APIs or Ajax. The one we are going to introduce is XOS. But before this course, you should also know the fetch API, okay? Because the XOS is a little bit I think it's before, when I introduce it's before the React router. But when we talk about the use effect, and we have to use, make a demo how to clean up the side effects. So I'm going to use the fetch API, which is a global API provided by which is provided to replace the an alternative of XML HTTP request object. Okay, and it's very simple. Okay, so we are going to just use this fetch global function to make a GET request. You will see later. So here we just have those common tasks in the front end development. No matter we are using React, Angular, or Vue, they all have the solutions for this kind of tasks. So why we use React? If you worked with DOM API directly before, you will feel it's so complicated to use DOM APIs when we require writing verbose and complex code, which can be error prone and challenging to maintain. you have directly work with the DOM API like document.create, and if we are using like here, or if we are using in the HTML, we can use a temporary literal to have the HTMLs there, but this is going to have not be efficient when we use in HTML. Like with a frequent update, continuous updates to a DOM can lead to a phenomenon called reflow or layout destruction, where browser recalculates the layout to render the entire page when we use .in HTML, which cause all your the browser have to recalculate and redraw all the DOM, regenerate all the DOM object for us based on our page. Okay, this is very expensive, and every DOM object being generated is also expensive, because if we just have simple div, don't attach any like on click or mouse over events, but DOM object itself is still very large because it automatically will have lots of on those events for you there. Okay. And it has a performance overhead. Direct manipulation of the DOM can be slow and resource intensive, especially dealing with a large number of elements, and frequent updates or changes to a DOM can lead to performance bottleneck and affect user experience. This is also related to what? The reflow or layout destruction, which need to re-render everything for the page. Okay. And the lack of component reusability. Reusing components across different parts of application can be challenging. Suppose I have a image gallery and I use for multiple pages, and for HTML, itself, you cannot reuse it. The way you do usually is a copy paste, because HTML by default is what? Is static, okay? And you have to copy paste and all the CSS or the HTML content into another page, and that is a lack of component reusability. And that's the reason we use React. Okay, so first it's a component-based architecture. Okay, React is built around the component-based architecture where the user interface is divided into reusable, self-contained components. Okay, so like we talked about image gallery before, you can make this to be a component which contains necessary informations, because image gallery we display using different image, right? Then we can just pass the image object to other component and place the component in different locations, so that image gallery can be used in different pages for different display, And this is also like the Lego, and like the kids play, they can have different components and connect them together, just grab, use them, and then it can build a beautiful boat or airplane or bicycle, Components are composed to create a complex user interface, make it easier to maintain and manage. Okay. Declarative syntax. This is related to rendering the page. Okay. While developers describe how the UI should look based on current application state, you will see the syntax JSX, which very similar to what? To HTML, okay? But with DOM API, if we want to create an object, if we want to create a page or section which can use append, then we have to use DOM API like a document.createElement to do that. Okay, it also have a virtual DOM and a diffing algorithm which make us the React application more efficient. Have every element inside the React has a virtual representation of a DOM object, okay, called a virtual DOM, and this allows React to efficiently update the actual DOM by only re-rendering components where their state or props changes. Okay. This will result in improved performance and responsiveness. We'll talk about the diffing algorithm later. And when you learn React, it's easier for you to understand React Native, okay, which extends on React to build native mobile applications for iOS and Android. Use same component-based approach. Okay, you can share the between web and mobile applications. That's the features of React. Now, how to create a React project. It has many tools out there. The one I use is called the Create React App, which is called CRA, okay? And this tool can help us to create a React application very quickly. It's like I'm not sure if you used before. It's like you have a express generator, the thing, okay, or COI, okay. So you can also use another one called a Vite, and very, very popular, and it's faster than the CRA, okay. It's same thing, just generate a React application, okay. You can also use this one. I'm going to use CRA because I use it for several years so far. I tried this one, okay. It also works great, okay. Any tools you like. It's a popular and official supported tool for quickly setting up and bootstrapping React JS application. Open source, okay. Designed to simplify the process of starting, configuring, and developing React application without need for complex building configurations or setup. Like you don't need to do zero configurations. Okay, it sets up a development environment with all necessary tools and build up configurations like Bible, Webpack, ESLint. You don't need to manually configure them. Okay, otherwise you have to do Bible, Webpack, ESLint by yourselves. It has opinionated defaults like default port number, but you can change, and also default opinion defaults like the project structure, the file structure. Okay. A set of opinionated defaults, best practice for structuring our project, like placing components in SRC directory, okay, organizing in recommended ways. You can change it by yourself if you want, okay. Built-in development server, it includes a development server that enable hot reloading, allow you to see immediate updates as you make change to a code. No need to manually set up a server or refresh a browser. Like in Node, probably you have to use in Node Moon, okay, to set up another, okay, set up another tool to detect the changes and restart the server, okay. Scripts, it have lots of scripts you can build in, okay, have predefined scripts like npm start, build, test that streamline common development tasks, okay. These scripts handle tasks like starting a development server, building production version, like running test. You don't need to add the scripts by ourselves in the package.json. Even though it's opinionated, but still it's configurable. CRA aims to be zero config, but it also advanced configuration opinions. You can eject from the default configuration and gain full control over the build process if your project requires customization. Okay, you can do it. If you want to change the port number, you can also change it. Okay, dependencies. It has when we use CRA to create the React application, it also manages project dependencies like a React DOM. This React DOM is built on top of React, which React is a core, okay, and other user libraries, and ensure that you start with the latest version. Okay, anyway, and now we are going to use Visual Studio Code to create the project, and it's going to be slow. Okay, depends on the network. Okay, so to start a new React project, and we are going to use a TypeScript for entire playlist. Okay, entire lesson, and we have to add this part. First is npx create React app, and you give your application name, and you have a template, TypeScript, okay? And if you already have a project but don't have a TypeScript, you can run this too, okay? Just to add types to your application, and make sure you have also tsconfig.json, okay? So now, npx here, I'm not sure if you know this one. npx here. npx is a command line tool that comes with npm. When we install Node, it will automatically install npm for executing, and is used for executing Node.js packages, particularly useful for running packages that are installed as dependency but don't have global installed command line tools. Okay, so now let me go back to my Visual Studio Code. Personally, actually, I don't like the black theme, but I see online kind of like almost everyone use the theme, you know. So okay, I use a black dark theme. Okay, so now we have to open our terminal. Let's see, open our terminal. And here I'm on a folder called React, and then I'm going to npx create React app. Then we have to have a demo. Okay, the demo I'm going to use, let's use demo React intro. Okay, and make sure we have a template. Okay, template is TypeScript. Okay, if you don't use TypeScript, just do like this way. Just do like this way. Okay, but I'm going to use TypeScript, so I use template here, and it takes time for it to create everything. Okay, so it's going to create a new files here, and it takes time to download because it has to download plenty of the dependencies, so it takes time. Okay, we have to wait, and you can click go forward. Okay, because I don't have plan to edit the files, edit the video to make it shorter. So you can click to find it when it's ready. Okay. Let me drink some water. Okay, pretty fast. Oh, still going on. If you use the white, it's faster. Okay, because white doesn't, the structure is a little bit different. Okay, probably. Okay, now we are done. So we go to day one and intro, and we just follow this command. Okay, follow these two. You get into this project created, then you run npm start, and it will automatically open my browser, default browser, and has application running for us. Okay, so just wait a little bit more. Okay, okay, like that. Our first React application is done. Now let's take a look at the files being generated here, and that's the two files, two folders basically. Okay, let's talk about one by one. We're gonna have slides for that, so I'm going to go to our slide. Okay, so our folder structure. Here under, let's talk about the public folder, which is this one has a public. Here have public. The public folder gonna have a favorite icon. Everyone should know favorite icon, okay? Because you are on React now. So favorite icon is icon showing in the browser bar, and the index HTML page is a main page. And we must have index HTML page. And why? And this is a single page. This is a single page which contains everything, like which contains what? Contains HTML tag, body tag, head tag, title, those things, HTML. And this is the only page will have a complete the HTML, like a doc type and everything. And we will have two logos. These two logos are used for when you use a mobile to open that and create a icon in the mobile application, if I remember correctly. But we don't use it. Okay, and they are being used in the index HTML. You can clear them. And the manifest.json, which is it plays a crucial role in defining the behavior and appearance of the PWA when users install it in their devices. Okay. You search by yourself. This one I already forgot it. robots, but I never used it. Okay, robots. This one is for the search engine. Okay, not specific for the React.js, but it's standardized use in web development to instruct web crawlers like search engine bots on how to interact with the website. For us, we don't need to use that, so I'm going to delete later. So for the public folder, let me public folder. See here, those, right? And the only thing you need is what? The only thing you need is let me delete you. The only thing if you don't need a favorite icon, you just delete it. Okay, delete. See here. And the only thing we have to keep it here is the index.html. And then for index.html, you don't see it's pretty long. Actually, the thing we need is you can Control A and delete everything. Then type everything from scratch. I'm going to type everything from scratch. Okay, just to have a document and a title, you know. And then here the thing you must have is here have a div id is equal to root. This is the thing you must have. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Okay, so for public folder, you can get rid of everything and just create a file called index.html and have a div id equals root here. And for if you need a favorite icon, just have a favorite icon linked here. Okay, for me, I just get rid of, so make it the very minimum, which is all necessary required files. Okay, so public folder, you can just have index.html. Now let's move on to the src folder. Okay, src folder is a source code all inside the src. Okay, like a css style for the app component, this is css file, and app.tsx is the component, which is the root component of React. And this one is for testing, not needed. And index.css style, which is linked inside the index.tsx, and index.tsx is a project entry, definitely needed. Okay, and you have a logo. This logo is included in the app.tsx, which is where when we first time start application, you see a logo is spinning there. That is this one. And report web vitals, which is measure and report key performance metrics that can help developer site operators analyze and optimize the user experience. We don't need. Okay, and this TS is a unit test of components. We don't need. So here, let's go back to our src. The two things you really need is app.tsx and index.tsx. Okay, there's one file I forgot to list here. I will show you later. Okay, so this one not needed. This one not needed. If you don't have style. Okay, so these two. Okay, and then this one, yeah. Should use it. This one not needed. This one not needed. This one not needed. This one not needed. Okay, so now we delete all of them. Okay, and then the only three files necessary to need is app.tsx, index.tsx, and React app the d.ts. These three files. Okay, and after we remove, let's go to index.tsx. I should follow the slides. Okay, let me follow the slides. So three files: app.tsx, the root component. This one is a project entry, and for this file, we're going to talk about in a minute. Okay, don't worry. Now, first, let's take a look at tsconfig. This is when we use TypeScript. The reason, if you didn't have a template TypeScript, you don't have this file. It's at the root of a project. Specify settings that will be used by TypeScript when compile our code, which is talking about this tsconfig. Generally, you don't need to make any changes. Okay, and next one. Did I mention about okay, didn't mention. Next one, here you also have what? Here you also have package.json. Okay, if you have here dependencies and all the scripts all mentioned here. Okay, and if you want to add the extra dependencies, it's going to be added here. And package.lock.json. Okay, it's used for store the extract tree when we install the dependencies. Okay, so now let's go over the slides a little bit. This file, Okay, React app env.ts. This is this file, and if you see the file, just one line of code. And what is this one doing? This one is a reference TypeScript types declaration that are specific to project started with CRA. Okay, also support importing resources like images or CSS, which means especially images. If you don't have this file, when you import like a .png, .jpg, you're gonna have errors. Okay, and this is called that line in this file is called the / directive, referring to a file with some type definitions. If you want to see, you can see here in node module React scripts lib React app.ts. This one. Let me show you what it is. Node module React scripts. Node module React scripts. Okay, see, that's why it's slow, guys, because I have so many files. OPQ React scripts. Then next folder lib this one. You can see here there's lots of definitions for images. See here, images and the CSS. And if you don't have this file, there, then when you import the CSS or when you import the images, you're going to see errors. That's why usually we keep it here, okay? Because no matter, sometimes we need to import the CSS or images, okay? So we're going to keep these 3 files necessary to be here, okay? Now, let's go back to the slides, okay? Second one, TSX. As you realize, the file name here is TSX. TSX. What is TSX? Introducing of TSX are also resulted in 3 additional things compared with JSX. Okay. If you don't use TypeScript, it's going to have a JSX. First, JavaScript bundles like Webpack, ESBuild, and others run different plugins for TSX file. Test runners like Jest can run a different test environment for only TSX. And new language support by code editors is a TSX. What's the difference between TS and TypeScript? If we are writing TypeScript files, the file extension usually we see is .ts. And what's the difference between them? The TS file extension is used when you create functions, classes, reducers that do not require the use of JSX syntax and elements. So we'll talk about the JSX syntax later. JSX syntax is special syntax used in React for template. Okay. Suppose if you just create some function or create an interface or class, it doesn't necessary to use a TSX. Okay. Well, TSX file extension is used when you create a React component and use JSX elements and syntax. So inside the TSX file, you can write any TS files, no problem, and doesn't necessary to have a JSX. Okay, you can just save a definition of interface or class definition inside a .tsx file. But if you have some code, that code has what JSX syntax, then that file must be inside a .tsx. Okay, because the TS file doesn't understand the JSX syntax. Okay, and once you develop more and more about React, you will naturally understand the difference. Next one, let's take a look at about our entry point, which is index.tsx under the src folder. First, React. Import React. This is required to use JSX syntax and React functionalities. Okay, and React DOM provide methods to render React application into DOM. You will see later. Okay, it has you have a .render method there. App. This app is our root component of application where the main structure of your app is defined app. This is imported from this app.tsx file, okay? It's a function. And the CSS file, we already deleted it, okay? For styling, okay? It's optional, okay? And inside .index.tsx, you will have what? You have root and the React DOM create root. And here, this is the only line you will see which use DOM APIs, like a document.element by ID. That's why inside our index HTML, the ID name is called root, because here we use root, okay, which is div ID equals root. And then document retrieves the DOM element where ID is a root, and React application gonna be mounted to, okay, which is all our components, the HTML gonna be inserted into a div ID equals root, okay. And then we will call root.render. Here is a root. This root is a React element now, okay, React DOM. This DOM have a render. Render what? You can render a functional component. Render what? Render a React component. This one is a React component, okay. React component. The render method of the root object is used to render app component in the root DOM element. The app component is typically the top level component, include other components of your application. Next one, strict mode. The strict mode enables the functional component only behavior following development only behavior, okay, which here, this one, React strict. First, if we turn on the strict mode, every component gonna be re-rendered twice. It will re-render an extra time to find the bugs caused by impure rendering. We'll run effects for an extra time to find bugs caused by missing effect cleanup, or be checked for usage of deprecated API. Basically, this thing, React.strict mode, you can get rid of it. But if you have this one, it will do the following checking, okay. Now, let me go back to our Visual Studio Code. So here, index, because we delete most of files, we will remove it, okay. We only keep all the necessary code here. So here, that's all our necessary code inside the index.tsx, okay. And the React is for, because I'm using strict mode here, so we have to use React here. React DOM has a render, okay. React has create root. This is similar to DOM.create element, okay. And here document.element root. Why use root here? Because in our index HTML here I use root, okay. That's the reason. If here you use ABC, then here you change to be ABC, and we render what? App. Now what is app? We'll talk about soon, okay. So here I'm going to Control A, remove everything, and then I'm going to just export. Let's give it simple, okay. Function app. First, the component inside React can be defined using a functional component, which is a function, and this component must start with capital, okay. Then we export this one. Export the default function app, and we return what? We will return a JSX. We'll talk about a JSX soon, okay. I will just, let me just have a H1. Hello, from React. And now, first, see here, guys, this is a function, okay? JavaScript function. Return what? Return this piece of code we are going to talk about next video, which is called a JSX, okay? And then our app, whenever you use this syntax, which is JSX syntax, it's going to make a call to your function. It's gonna make a call to execute this function, because this is a function, right? Function can be executed. And when we have this syntax, okay, this syntax, JSX syntax, it's going to make a call to this function, whatever being returned. So this one is being returned, right? This one is being returned. The return thing going to be in the render. So render going to do what? Render going to put everything you put in the render into where? Everything you put here is going to be inserted into the between this div id root. Oh, if don't let me show you something. Okay. See here, h1 hello from Tina. Okay, let's see. I'm going to start an application. Now go to our browser. You will see hello from Tina, and when we inspect the DOM, you will see here. Guys, take a look at. This is our HTML. This is our HTML. This HTML refer to this index HTML. You will see have a doc type en and UTF-8 viewport React. Take a look at it here. UTF-8 viewport script. This one is because everything gonna be eventually bound into a JS file. Okay. And then in the body you have div root. In the body we have div root. So what is this thing being inserted here? What's the thing is being inserted? Depends on this render. See here, I render what? I render this part. So this thing is going to be inserted where? Inserted into our div id root. Now if I add another one like h2 or h3 something, okay, and you will see that here. See here, inside div you have h1 have hello from Tina and have h3. So that is this render doing. Okay, but just now what we did, we have a react.strict mode. This is not necessary. Okay, and here we have app, and as we mentioned, when you have this app, it's going to be this one going to happen what? Make a function call to app function. Okay, see here, this is a function, right? He will make a call to this one, and the returned value of app function is going to be rendered here. So now in the app, when I make a function call, so this part is being returned. So this part is being rendered here. So that's why you will see what? That's why you will see hello from React. Okay, see here, because this return thing going to be rendered here. Okay, you don't need to turn. See here, you can remove the restricted mode. Doesn't matter. Okay, so I only have app. I make a call. I can make a call. So this part being returned, right? It's going to be put it here. That is the render doing. Okay, so let's do a summary. We are using what? We are using create React app to create our React project. The necessary files to be make the minimum file which required to make our React project work. Yes, in the public you must have index.html, and here you need to have a div id as a root. The reason we need to have a root here is because in our index.tsx, because here is a root. Document.getElement by id is root. Okay, you are welcome to change, but generally we're gonna do it. Okay, it's fine. You can change to be anything you want. And on the SRC, the necessary 3 files we need is app.tsx, index.ts. This one is called a / directive, and if you use .css or import CSS or import for images, then you have to put it here. Otherwise, it's gonna have errors. But if for the intro demo, because we don't use CSS, we don't use images, you don't include it here, it's fine. Okay, and we have a functional component, which is our root component, and to be rendered in our root. Okay, so that is the first demo, and I will see you in next video. Bye bye. Thank you for watching. See you next time.